Hi guys, welcome back to another video. We're not looking at rifles today, we're taking a look at a pistol. And this pistol I've had for a very long time. I think the first time I reviewed this pistol, because I had two of them, was about 8 years ago. So I've owned this pistol for almost 8 years, probably a little bit longer, but this is the FNX-45. This was a license release, I think, at the time, and it was produced by VFC. Now, I wanted an FNX for a long time. It is a really big pistol, compared to some smaller pistols. Have I got anything here to compare it to? I've got a Glock 17. So here's my Glock 17. And you can see it's just massive in comparison. It might not look much bigger, but it's wider, it's fatter. Perhaps not quite as big as a Mark 23, but it's not far off. This is a gas blowback pistol made by VFC, fully licensed. You can see it's got some battle wear there, and of course it didn't look like this when I bought it. This pistol has served me very well. The only real time it's ever let me down is, in cold weather, if the magazines have been in my pouches and they've got really cold. The pistol will still work, it's just a bit sluggish. And I think there's a bit of gas in this. Don't know how much is in there, so it is, of course, empty. But it's got a superb amount of kick on it. It's got loads of slide travel. And it's just a very cool pistol. I compared this to the TM FNX a while ago now, just comparing features and such. And the VFC one, which this is, I ended up selling my Maru one just because I didn't use it. It's got a load of cool features. So it's got double and single action. So single action, double action. But much like the real one, you'd have to, if you took the real pistol and you slapped a loaded magazine in and you pull the trigger, nothing would happen, which nothing does happen, because on the real one you'd have to chamber around like that, and then of course it will work. Once it's chambered, or when it's primed, you can decock it and you can still use the double action. And this is a great feature because it functions very much like the real one. If there's no round in the chamber or no round loaded in, the real one wouldn't fire. The TM doesn't have that. The magazines, I think they're about 25, 28 rounds-ish, I guess. I'd have to double check. Again, I've owned this pistol for so long, I normally just whack a load of BBs in there and off we go. These, for a long period of time, was so difficult to get hold of. And you can see they've got the usual VFC, put the valve at the top of the magazine here. The only real problems I've had with the magazines are if you load them up with, for a while I was using that WE 3.0 gas, the red gas, and if you fully load them up and leave them somewhere warm or hot or in the sun, in a room that's hot, or they just overheat for whatever reason, the casings are that thin, they can expand. And then if they do that, when you're putting it into the pistol, they'll be hard to push in, they'll be hard to pull out. You can sometimes empty the gas out and just put these in like a vice or something just to squeeze them back in. All I'd say is don't put stupidly high-powered gas in them and let them get hot. If you're just using regular green gas, you shouldn't really have an issue. So the trigger on this is actually really nice. I do like it. It's probably not to everybody's taste, but when the gun is primed, you've got a little bit of take up and the wall is right there. And the pressure amount needed to drop the hammer is not a lot at all. And then the reset is literally 0.5 mm in front of the wall. So it's quite a fast pistol to fire. Even though it's got this chonking slide on there and a red dot. Now, I'm using the standard iron sights that came with the pistol. This is just a cheap Chinese red dot. I predominantly put this on there because it looked the part. They have red dots on them. It's got that very sort of Spec Ops style look. but it's a cheap red dot. It's been on many things, and the only thing I use this to do on the pistol is to rack it. So if I'm in a position where I can't quite grab the slide, because even though you're trying to grab the slide, it's not as easy as just, it's like a charging handle that I use it for. So it's for looks, for a charging handle, and to be honest, usually I'm just at the ranges that I'm using this pistol, I'm just kind of eyeballing it anyway. The slide is a little bit loose, and like I say, this gun has been used for 8 years, so it could be that. I can't remember it being that loose when I first had it. However, it is never faltered, and it's continued to work. So it's one of those things you just keep using it. The frame, of course, is not the standard frame color. This was hydro dipped in like a Cryptek pattern. It was done to match my striker, and I had an ASG Evo Scorpion at the time, and I had them all done in the Cryptek pattern. So there was 3 guns that were matched in their theme, and then I always just left it as it is. I've never Cerakoted the top slide because it's just one of them pistols where I'll just pick it up and use it. So the reason why I don't use this as much now is I honestly don't know what I've done with the holster. I had 2 holsters. One I sold to a friend, and then the other one, it'll be around here somewhere, but who knows. Perhaps I need to get another one. These come apart really easy. The barrel system there, it's threaded to 16mm positive, very much like a Tokyo Marui. If I have a suppressor, do. So this is a Mark 23 suppressor here, and you'll see it threads straight on clockwise. It did have a thread protector on there. The reason why I lost this was because I was carrying the pistol on a belt holster, and I think what was happening, we were on a Milsim event in Wales, I think it was Gwent somewhere, and I think what was happening is, as I was walking and hiking up and down these hills, my trousers were rubbing on the thread protector, and it just unthreaded it, and I looked for it but realised that I wasn't ever going to find it, and I've just ran it like this ever since. As far as pistols go, this is probably my least looked after pistol. It's just one of those things that I pick up, and you'll see like the iron sight's slightly loose. And again, I haven't used it for a very long time. Internally, I'm still using the original brass barrel. All I've done over time was I put a 9-ball bucket in there, and that was because the standard one, I think, wore out. So I can put that back in there. Easy to take apart, easy to maintain. You do have to drop the slide off to do the hop, and again, there's a little bit of wear on the hop, but the thing still works. They do have a little spring that sits on here, so if you're taking your inner barrel and hop out, you have to be very wary of damaging that, or not damaging it. This goes back together like so. They were probably one of the first pistols to do. It was one of the first pistols that I'm aware of that did the nozzle where it used like an M4 gas blowback style system, which a lot of pistols use nowadays, especially the GHK. So that's probably why it has such a chunky blowback impulse. And the only thing that I've known fail on these, which hasn't failed on mine, but it did fail on the buddies, is there's a little spring in there somewhere to do with the valve knocker, and he's broken. All I did was I just bent it, like unwound the spring back into shape and put it in there because we couldn't get a replacement part at the time. The red dot sight mount that I've got on there was just one that you could get from the Hong Kong shops at the time. I think it was like $14. I can't remember what brand it was, but you'll see if we put the suppressor on here, it's a very Spec Ops looking pistol. I probably wouldn't want to run a suppressor this big, but this pistol has always worked no matter what you put on the front of it. Some pistols, when they have a bit of barrel weight added to the front, they don't perform as well. But I've always kept it unsuppressed because it's a big pistol anyway, and if I'm pulling it out, people are probably very close to me, and I want it to be nice and manoeuvrable so I can get around doorways and stuff like that. Is it the most high tolerance pistol in the world? Absolutely not. I think when they came out, they were £150, £159.99. I had 2 of them, sold one and a holster to a friend, had another holster, don't know where that is, and the only reason that I haven't run it recently is because I don't really run pistols as much as what I used to. I bought the GHK, and again, I just don't get to that many games anymore. So, and the games that I have got to have just been in the cold months. So I've thought, you know what, so let's just take a few extra mags for the rifle. So that is my FNX-45 tactical. It's served me well. It's the investment that I put into it of what, £160. Probably had a bunch of mags. Don't know where they are. You know, a cheap red dot sight, which is like 40 quid. I think the bracket was like, you know, $15 or whatever. You know, it's been a very inexpensive pistol. You break that cost down over 8 years. And, you know, it's really pulled its weight. I ran a light on it like this with a holster. And usually when I was running this pistol, I was running it with a light on, and if I was going into a dark building and I didn't have a light on my rifle for whatever, I'd pull the pistol out and use the light on the pistol. So after 8 years of owning this, I highly recommend this pistol. It just really hasn't faltered. I'm not saying it's faultless. I'm sure there are people out there that have had issues with this pistol, but this is a pistol that I've probably owned the longest out of all the pistols I've had for my time in, you know, doing the airsoft hobby. I did invest in a GHK Glock 17 and you know, some crazy AAP01 bits. I think I've found the issue resulting to why this wasn't working not long ago. I think it was just the propellant I was using. But yeah, this always sits on the wall, and you know, I know for a fact that, you know, if I found the holster, if I picked this up and took it to a game, it would work as intended. You're not putting stupidly heavy balls in this, probably 2 5s or 3s. And yeah, that is my 8-year review of the FNX-45. Bit rough around the edges now, it probably needs a bit of TLC. See if I can sort of tighten up this tolerance of the slide. But then are you asking for issues when the thing just works? It sounds absolutely great when you're firing it. Better than most pistols in my opinion. The GHK doesn't sound bad. I mean, is this going to work? Probably not. That still has a more of a metallic noise to it. So thanks for watching this video. Hope you've enjoyed it. I've showed off a pistol for a change compared to a rifle, and this is probably something that I'll never move on, just because it doesn't really owe me anything, and it can always just sit on the wall if I never intend to use it. So thanks for tuning into this video, and from me and Bench, I'll see you in the next one.